Welcome to the Heart of Fauquier. I am Austin Bedrosian, your host, and today's special guest is Olivia Henderson. Here on this podcast, we are all about talking about local entrepreneurs here in Fauquier County so we can learn about their stories, learn from their expertise, and obviously promote their business. We love to support local businesses, so this is a great way to discover them and what they do. So to start off, I just want you to take a second to kind of tell us who you are, if you're from this area, maybe a little bit about your professional background as well.
Okay, my name is Olivia Henderson. I was born and raised in Fauquier County. Never left the area. I love it. I love being a local. We go to Warrenton all the time, and I was blessed and excited to be able to start a business in the county.
Very cool. And then did you go to college nearby as well and everything? Did you do the college route?
Yes, so I actually went to Lord Fairfax for 3 years. I was going part-time while I was actually studying to be a cosmetologist.
Okay.
So I actually have my cosmetology license, and then I transferred to George Mason University, of course, in Fairfax.
Okay, very cool. Did you ever take that cosmetology track, or did you just get the education and it didn't turn into much?
So my original plan was actually, while I was getting my cosmetology license, I was studying business administration.
Okay.
So my original plan was to get my cosmetology license and then open my own salon, like work my way up through management and learning all the ropes of running a salon and then open my own. But I'm sure we've all had those jobs where you're sitting there and you just feel like you're not using like what I call your superpower.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has that one thing that is like their gift. No matter what you're good at, there's something that you're like meant to do. Mm-hmm. And when I was working as a licensed cosmetologist, it was creative, it was fun. I loved meeting all the people, but I just didn't feel like I was doing everything that I was supposed to be. So that's when I really like put my like nose to the grindstone and I went back to college. I never stopped, but I put my focus more into college. Went to George Mason for communication and public relations, and I started working in what I'm meant to do, which is communication.
Awesome, very cool. But it's neat that even if it wasn't something that, played out in the long term with your cosmetology, you already wanted to have that business ownership. It's kind of
Yes.
a goal already. That's pretty neat. I've seen some people who always wanted to own something, and then I've seen some people that it kind of just the opportunity opened and it made sense and so they jumped in it. And I always think it's extra cool when it's kind of buried inside your heart from the very beginning. So that's pretty cool. And then you were saying earlier before we started this that you kind of were in between jobs and looking for something, and then it turned into marketing and kind of blossomed into your business. Can you kind of tell that story a little bit for us?
So I was working at a local business as their marketing specialist. While I was going to college, I was a senior, I was getting ready to graduate. And since I was only working part-time, of course, when you graduate college, it's like, oh, well, if I want to, be able to afford to live, you have to get a full-time job. So while I was working there, I applied to a few full-time jobs that I wasn't super excited while I was applying. It felt like, well, it'll be a job. It'll be good to work there. But then one of my family friends sent me a screenshot of an email from a local business owner who was looking for help with her social media marketing. And she was like, I don't care how much experience you have. I don't care like if this is what you want to do for a living. I just need help. And I was like, you know what, this could be good for me. So I gave it a shot. I chatted with her, we hit it off. I started running her social media, and within a few months, she told me that her sales were up. I could see from the back end that her followers were up, her reach, her engagement, people were interacting more with her brand. And that's when it kind of hit me. I was like, well, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I was still looking for full-time jobs at the time because that's what I felt like I had to do.
Right.
But then she sent me to one of her friends. She said, hey, Olivia, I have this friend who's also looking for social media help. Would you be willing to talk to him and like see what he needs? And I'm like, well, now I'm going to be working 3 jobs. Like, what do I do with that? But I hit it off with him as well. And during that time, like after I started working for him, I will never forget what my boss at the time told me. He looked at me and he said, Olivia, I don't see you working for someone for very long. And I was like,
wow.
Are you, in my head, I'm going, are you trying to fire me right now? Like he told me, he was like, no, like you have too many entrepreneurial skills to be working underneath of someone. Like you need to branch out and like use what you're doing for your own business to help people.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really eye-opening. And then my family started pushing me there, and eventually here we are.
Yeah.
I have White Duck Marketing.
Very cool. And I think that's super neat. And it's really put you in your sweet spot. Like you said, your superpower thing, I've heard it called your sweet spot. And you definitely feel like you're right in that zone now.
Yes.
Very cool. And when did that happen? When did you officially start White Duck Marketing?
So it was July of 2021. So we've been in business for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Almost. It'll be a year and a half in December.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice. And I think that's also really neat. I don't know if it's by chance or just who I happen to interact with, but I've interacted with a ton of people who started their business in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
When, things have been a little bit crazy, and to hear those stories of how it happened is pretty neat, and that people removed any excuses that they could have had, and even, real ones, and they just, plowed through anyway and made it happen. So
yeah, I
love that.
I think for me particularly, like 2020 and all of the stuff that came with that was what pushed people online more and realize the importance of like having your business online too. Because when brick and mortars like had to shut their doors for a while, everyone's going, well, how do I still make money? And that's when the big epiphany happened, that everyone's like, we have to be on social media. We have to be marketing ourselves online too. And so it was a natural progression for my business.
Very cool. So what all do you do at White Duck Marketing? Is it just like Facebook and Instagram, or is it like more social media than that? Is it like what's your scope of everything that you do?
So what started as just Facebook and Instagram, I specialize in those and like growing organically on those platforms. Like a lot of people, they think the first thing they want to do is, cool, let's get into ads. And I'm like,
throw money at it. Yeah. It'll fix itself.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you have to like put in the effort, work on your strategy, and then if you want to spend the money, you can. But we do Facebook and Instagram. We also do graphic design work. We do branding. What I love to do is walk businesses through. I get a lot of new businesses when they're starting their journey like I did, from working part-time in what they're doing and like into going full-time, and they'll come to me with like their brand idea, and they'll say, I need help with coming up with a logo. I need help coming up. Some of them will ask for a name. Not great at naming things, I'll be honest. But I sit down with them, we'll figure out their like brand colors, their logo, their overall like voice and tone that they want to have when they're interacting with people, whether they want to come across as experts in the field or your best friend. And then we start working on their social media strategy. And it's up to them what different platforms they want to work on. Again, primarily I specialize in Facebook and Instagram, but of course we know TikTok is big, and we'll do videos for TikTok and Reels on Instagram. We do I have a customer or a client that enjoys working with Pinterest as well, because she's a travel agent. So we basically just whatever our customers need, we incorporate into their plan. Everything is custom for them.
That's very cool, and that's a big scope then, There's a lot involved in it. And I like that you said you get to know if they want to be seen as the expert, like what's the kind of culture that they're putting out, their vibe, because every company is so different on what they want to, put to the public, and just the feel of the company on the inside, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So when companies aren't brand new and they come to you, how do you get a feel for their culture and make it so their social media truly reflects them? How do you do that as an outside person?
It takes a lot of like chatting with them and figuring out like what their vision is, because if they already have an established vision, even if it's not already written down, we have to sit down and figure out where their business is going. That's the most important thing. Where are you trying to go with this? Are you trying to like inspire people? Are you trying to educate people? Like I interviewed with like a medical company before, and they mentioned to me that they really want to go with like a story form of marketing and teaching people that their health it's a critical part of their lives and they need to like focus on that. It's just a matter of figuring out their vision. And then once we get their vision down, that's when we figure out how we speak to their customers to meet that vision.
Okay, very cool. That's awesome. What kind of, well, actually, before I jump into the next question, you said you're not very good at naming companies when you're helping kind of new ones, but I think your name is pretty unique, White Duck Marketing. Where did that come from?
So, it's always a funny story. Ducks are a very unique and silly animal, but what happened was in 2020, when I got sent home from college, I was actually diagnosed with depression, and it was a very hard time in my life trying to like pick yourself up after your plan. I'm a planner. I love to know what's coming next and kind of figure things out. And when I got sent home from college, I didn't know what to do. But my neighbors at the time, they had raised these ducklings with their granddaughter. And they didn't really have a place for them after they grew up, and we have a pond in our backyard. So literally my neighbors just came up to me and they were like, hey, are you cool if we give you these ducks to keep in your yard? And I was like, okay.
Kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah.
But I realized very quickly that they are a pretty complex animal with like a lot of like interesting needs compared to other animals. It's not a dog.
Right, right.
But it was the educational process, how quickly I had to learn how to take care of this animal to the best of their ability, how to build trust with these animals that weren't socialized very much when they were young, and overall the process of building that trust, learning about them, enjoying like the uniqueness of their personality in comparison with like a dog or perhaps more common animals that people are familiar with. That inspired my brand, because when I'm sitting down with a business and they're wanting to launch into a campaign really quickly, that's what I have to do. I have to learn exactly what they need. I have to learn their unique personality, and I have to build that trusting relationship so that they're not scared to like hand over kind of the keys of their company, not like in a metaphorical sense, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of what the public sees is what you're putting out there, so that is a lot of trust in like putting the keys in your hand. Yeah, for sure.
It's terrifying, and even for me, when I was hiring someone, you have to like stop and think like, is this person a good representation?
Yeah.
So the concept that I had when raising these ducks is exactly the same as I have with my clients.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And it was, before you had your company started, but you could kind of reflect and be like, oh, I kind of done this. These are like my new little ducklings that I get to work with.
Exactly.
So
I think I'm going to start calling them that.
Yeah, your little ducklings instead of your clients. That's fun. What kind of difficulties have you run into? So you've got your own company, you're on your own and everything. What kind of difficulties have you run into and had to overcome as you're growing? Kind of growing pains, maybe.
Ooh, growing pains. It's definitely growing my staff. That's a very hard thing to do, because we're looking for people that are excited about writing, they're excited about marketing, and I have to find someone that shares my same vision for my clients. And I want someone that feels that closeness and importance of their business as I do. And I actually found someone like that. She was working with me, she's super excited, and then she called me and she told me that she got hired by the NFL to do their social media, and I was like, good for you.
You're on the right person though, apparently.
Yes, so now it's a matter of finding someone else that has that same vision and is just ready to like take on the responsibility of representing other people's brands.
Yeah. Do you still have people that work with you that assist you with things right now, or are you the whole show right now?
Right now, I am the whole show.
Okay.
So it is a struggle, and it's a matter of prioritizing like what you need as you're like just getting everything organized, and so hopefully I won't be the whole show for long.
Yeah, so you're looking for someone. That's really cool, and that's a big step, especially the first couple people that you trust to do something that's so important, to make sure that they're doing it well and everything is really important. Especially when it is small, it's almost more difficult. Once you reach a certain point, you still have to be particular of who you find, but if it's just you and one or two other people, you're interacting constantly, and you just have to mesh really well.
Yes.
So that you can give your clients a good product, good service. So, at what point do you think someone should be looking for a marketing company like you guys?
My clients, they have come to me when they are kind of at their wits' end. You have worked on your social media and it starts to become stressful for you. It's taking away time that you should be spending on other revenue generating activities. So if they're skipping out on some managerial tasks that they need to do because they're trying to just communicate with their audience, when they are, especially if they're not familiar with social media, if they're going to be wasting time trying to figure out everything that has to go with that, it comes down to when social media becomes a problem. That's when you need to outsource or either bring someone into your team or look into hiring an agency like ours.
Okay, very cool. And it's so true that when you don't know, like it's not your specialty, it takes at least 10 times longer. It's way more frustrating, and you could come in and just do it really quick because you've done it so many times, and other people don't have a clue about, the meta suite or whatever it is to manage things. And then, you were even saying you work with TikTok and a little bit of Pinterest. I mean, they're all just so different, so to be able to branch into them is so difficult. So sometimes it feels like you're hitting your head against a wall if you put so much time, or you're the person that, like we talked about earlier, is throwing money at it even. It's like, wow, I've put hundreds or thousands and thousands of dollars into this and it's really not bringing much back. Like, yeah, that can be super frustrating.
No, it's a matter of you have to get your message, like if you're not saying the right thing, it doesn't matter how much money that you're throwing at it. People aren't going to be attracted to something that says sponsored as much as they are something that's coming straight from the business, straight from the people who run it, saying, look, this is what we do, this is what we help you with.
Yeah, that's cool. What's kind of the diversity of companies that you've worked with so far? Just kind of to give people a taste of who you've worked with. Has it been like, skilled workers with construction and everything? Has it been accounting, all the different things, retail? Who have you worked with most?
So I work with primarily small businesses. I work with a local elderberry company. I work with a local soap maker, candle maker, but then I also represent a town in Prince William County. I run their social media. I work for a travel agent. I've worked with a police department. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I've worked with a coffee company doing their logos and stuff. It's whoever needs help. It's fun to me when you have so many different businesses. You're constantly on your toes and thinking from their perspective. I'm never bored. I can honestly say that. Yeah, that's awesome. What are some tips that you can give people who kind of have a handle on their social media right now, but maybe to give them that extra little bit to make it more effective? Something that most of the people that I speak to about social media, they struggle with is time. So they usually won't post because of time, and it takes them a while to come up with all of the caption, the images, everything. So they'll tell me they can't post every day, and I say, don't. Schedule one day a week where you sit down at your computer and you come up with all of the posts that you want to do throughout the week. Instead of taking 45 minutes today, 45 minutes tomorrow, 45 minutes the next day, sit down and come up with all of the things you want to say. Get yourself in a flow of your work and then schedule them out. There's a lot of tools that you can use to schedule things, whether it is Meta Business Suite. They have a planner, which is free to use. And then there's apps, I really enjoy using Planoly, which it's a scheduling tool as well. But mostly make the most of the time that you have by scheduling them in advance.
What advice would you give younger Olivia before you started White Duck Marketing? What would you tell her a couple years ago?
I would tell her just go for it, and don't doubt yourself, don't hesitate, because there was a weird transitional time where I was trying to decide if I wanted to start my own business or find that full-time job to be like an in-house marketing person for them. And throughout the journey, I would just keep going, I wonder if I should have done that. But now that I'm almost at my own full capacity of working and I'm really needing to hire someone, I see that it was the right choice.
Yeah.
And it's helping more people this way than it would if I was just in-house somewhere else. So I would just say keep going.
Yeah, absolutely, and have that extra confidence,
Yes.
to keep doing it. So
It does work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool because, in a couple of years from now, you might tell yourself something now that will blow your mind too about the amazing things you're going to do. So yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. So.
Thank you.
And then the second perspective question I have for you is now looking at the future. What are your goals, or what's your vision for White Duck Marketing?
Well, in the next little bit, hopefully the future holds a new long-term employee that would hang
Right.
out and help the business grow, because it's growing faster than I can handle on my own. And then more long-term, ideally what it would look like is growing the agency to a level where I can have my own building, I can have my own departments for all different kinds of marketing. We can have like the social media department, we can have the videography department, and ideally hire people that are better than me.
Yeah.
So they can like have their own creative vision and bring something new to the business. And I just want us to be a full marketing agency that people can come in from or for whatever they need, and just have my teams take care of it.
Okay, that's amazing. And that's so cool because you're, saying a couple years ago you told yourself to have confidence and keep going, and now suddenly those are really big goals. Like, that's really cool. So it's not just saying, to keep doing what I'm doing and, hopefully this happens. Like, that's a really big goal that you have for the different departments and everything. But, when you start a business and you're young and everything, you can, really hit it hard and have a really big company,
We'll see how it goes, because
Yeah.
of course plans change as you get into them. They
Absolutely.
evolve, but I think it's good to have ridiculously big dreams and goals,
Yeah.
something to work towards.
What is it? Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll hit the stars. Is that how it goes? Something
yeah.
like that. So yeah, might as well dream big, or not at all.
Right.
So very cool. And then just a last question, because we're going into the holiday season now with Christmas and everything. Do you have any fun traditions that you do?
Oh, I love baking with my family. So every year around Thanksgiving and Christmas, we start to do our big batch of gingerbread cookies. So we bring all of our workplaces they're very large gingerbread men that I love to decorate. I love to
Okay.
make them. We'll take them into all the offices, and it's a really fun thing to just give people, and we love doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Before we end here, I want to thank Cornerstone Baptist for letting us use their space. This is a really amazing space. They're here at Rock Point Lane here in Warrenton, and their services are on Sunday at 10:15 a.m. So definitely check them out. Talk to Pastor Mike and reach out if you don't have a home church and you'd like to check things out. But thank you so much, Olivia, for talking with me and sharing about your company.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Where can people follow you or find you on social media or website?
Everything is at White Duck Marketing on Facebook, Instagram. My website is whiteduckmarketing.com. Just
Awesome.
reach out if you need any marketing help.
Very cool. And even just following her, she puts up tips all the time and encouragement for people that are doing their social media on their own right now. So, and then you'll probably get to the point where you need to reach out to have her services. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of The Heart of Fauquier. If you loved joining us today, give this podcast a great review and subscribe to keep up with new episodes. If you have an office in Fauquier that needs a cleaning service, reach out to Bedrosian Cleaning Services and see how they can serve you. Until next time, thanks for listening.